Thank you, Marco. And thank you for being here at this time. I know I'm the last speaker before the party, and so I don't know if people will have a beer in the hand now, but I appreciate it. So talking about Wooga, just really shortly, we're a mobile-first game developer, 5 years old, from Berlin, doing around 100 million in gross sales, profitable since 2 years. So we're actually at NOAH not to raise money, which is a pleasing feeling, but to connect and inform about what we do. And about 300 employees, you can read about that. So Wooga didn't start on mobile. We started making games on Facebook. Actually, in the beginning, we made games everywhere except Facebook. Then we shifted to Facebook, and then we shifted to mobile. And this year, we'll be doing around 60% of our revenue on mobile. Next year, around 75%. And what I want to talk today about is change, which is the motto of NOAH, and how we changed in response to these markets, to these shifts. Now, mobile is an extraordinary industry to be in. If you see, these are the classic Gartner charts, devices going up crazily, especially if you combine tablets and smartphones. And one thing this graph doesn't show is the number of minutes, which is growing even faster. So on the one hand, you have a huge device set. And the second thing is games. So this is a screenshot from the App Store, from the top grossing charts in the US. And if I remove non-games, this is what it looks like. So games is totally dominating App Store revenue. So that's great. On the other hand, what's difficult is the distribution of revenue, where it's very clear the top ranks get a huge share of the revenue. And what you need to do with your games is be among ideally we'd love to have a Candy Crush, but you need to be within the top 20, 30. And so we've done 3 things over the past years to try and really consistently and repeatedly create hits. Because what no one wants to be is a game company with one hit title. That's not a very good position to be in. So what we focus on is figuring out how to repeatedly create hits. And the first thing is our development approach and portfolio. So what we do is we've instituted a hit filter. And by the way, this looks really easy on PowerPoint. In practice, it's incredibly hard to do. We have 20 game teams internally working on games. And what we'll do is we'll develop round about 40 prototypes per year, which are already working games, just not very pretty yet, and then choose which go to production, about 10, go to soft launch, and then a hit. And what we need to be is we need to be very almost brutal in stopping the ones which won't become great games as early as possible, but then throw our whole weight behind the good ones. And that's, especially in the beginning, quite difficult to do. The second thing is a portfolio across multiple genres. So what can become dangerous in gaming is over-reliance on any single genre, because consumer tastes change, and the market obviously does as well. And so what we look for is to have a set of live games in different genres, as well as new games in development across these genres. And so a lot of portfolio management. Some of what we do actually seems a bit like pharmaceutical companies, where you have the same filter approach and the same portfolio management. The second thing are the people who create these hits. So we're based in Berlin, but actually only 45% of our employees are German. The rest are non-German. And that actually makes sense. If you're making games for the world, it doesn't help to only have Germans sitting there. And we've been able to hire pretty aggressively from companies like EA or Crytek or Zynga. And the third thing is the time to market. So when you have a hit, it's extremely difficult as a small developer to launch it. So what we've done is invested heavily in marketing, built our own trading desk. We have excellent relationships with Apple, Facebook, and Google to make sure our games are featured as well as possible. And finally, localization. So Jelly Splash, one of our last games, was launched in 22 languages. So for me, it was really cool also to play Jelly Splash in Korean or in Thai. But that's something you have to do which consumers expect, and you need to be good at it. So talking about 2015, what's our plan for that? And it's two main blocks. One is our pipeline, and the second is Asia. So talking about the pipeline, gaming companies never really want to show what they're working on, but I think looking at the screenshots, what you can see is that the games going forward will not only be in our core genres of casual games, of puzzle games, but we're going broader. Now, Wooga will always remain a game company for mass market big titles, but we are going more male and potentially more mid-core. And we're doing that by also investing in technology. And we have two teams. I didn't come up with the Archie name, but we have two teams, one focusing on speeding up game development, which is Team Archie, meaning getting to market faster. And the second thing is game operations, because due to our size and the number of games, we can invest in technology to make our games better. Now, the second aspect is Asia. Asia is a market which is very different. Actually, it's a big mistake to talk about Asia. We should be talking about Japan, China, and Korea, because they are also different. And what we've done is, in the past few months, we've opened an office in Tokyo. So our first of all of our employees, we have, I think now, 284 in Berlin and 1 in Tokyo. It's sometimes a bit solitary. And the reasons are twofold. One is Japan is simply the single largest gaming market in the world. So I didn't add China because market numbers are a bit difficult to come by for China, but Japan is somewhere number 1 and Korea number 3 or 4. And so that's obviously one reason for us to go. But the second thing is that many key gaming innovations are originally from Asia. So a lot of the mobile gaming is actually from Asia, especially the NTT Docomo times, and free-to-play or freemium is also a Japanese invention. And so what we're also doing is actively hiring product people from Japan to transplant them back to Berlin to improve our games. And just looking at our revenue distribution, it's obvious that there's a white spot on the map. I don't know if that's the signal to stop. I have 50 seconds. So, but kind of to summarize it, that's our strategies to repeatedly create hits. So work on our portfolio and process, invest in the people, and then when we have a hit, go to market. And in the next year, we'll be applying that on the one hand to our upcoming pipeline, and on the other hand to a completely new geo for us, which is Japan and successively Asia. I'll be around here this evening if you want to ask me questions. I don't know if we have time now. If not, happy to meet you later. Thank you very much.